Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Mirror's Edge. We're probably going to wrap up the story mode here, so let's just continue and do that. We're going up the elevator in the shard to the mayor's area, so you get this one elevator in the entire game where you get to see the city. And let's not put our hands on the glass. You see a bird, you see a city, it's nice.
It looks like the security doors to the roof are closed. Okay. If you destroy those servers, their emergency protocol should automatically unlock the doors.
I'm trying to get to the roof.
Good luck, Faith.
So nothing you could really ID as this city. Like can't break the glass, even though there's nothing here. Maybe you could say that that's I don't recognize it.
Surveillance for the whole city right under your nose, Faith. Sounds like they've taken Kate to the roof. They've got a chopper coming in. You'll have to be quick. What the...
So, we're back to another one of these situations. They're throwing grenades and throwing bombs. And this is like the surveillance of the entire city, so in theory, the whole city is getting being destroyed. So I think what we have to do here, instead of just running, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to destroy the computers.
Surveillance for the whole city right under your nose, Faith. Sounds like they've taken Kate to the roof. They've got a chopper coming in. You'll have to be quick. What the...
So, in any dystopia, yeah, that is a grenade. So this first one, by running that way, is damaged. How many of these do we have to damage? That's one. That one's damaged. That one's damaged. Do we have to get all of them? All four of them? Broken? That's quite a lot. One would think it would be easier just to get a gun. So, we want the doors now to open. It feels like we have to take these guys out. No. Again, the subtitles are not working right. It's just not putting that audio in here. So we walk in this area, we get trapped. So I've got to convince them to shoot. This. Bank 1's damaged now. Bank 2's damaged. So you've got to run around this whole area. I think you have to go run around here. These guys are so trigger happy. Now, all 4 banks have failed. So now it's just a matter of not getting shot. Zigzag the way here through this, so that those doors are open. Which, in all honesty, I should have just taken the gun from that guy.
Sounds like they've taken Kate to the roof. They've got a chopper coming in. You'll have to be quick.
So I guess we could hit back here and destroy the servers to open the path to the rooftop. Which is something. He knows we've gotten 13 out of 30 collectibles and we're almost done with the Apparently haven't gotten a single server to be shot yet. There's one. And it says in bank 1 the first time you hit something, but in actuality bank 1 is just the first one. So that's 3. Come on, hit me. Take that gun. Take him out. And that doesn't help.
Look around. Surveillance for the whole city right under your nose, Faith. Sounds like they've taken Kate to the roof.
So it feels like there should be more of a score system here. I'm kind of reminded of like Bayonetta as far as the score system. There's a game where it's really hard to actually die in Bayonetta 1, but it's really easy to not play at your best, absolute perfect capacity. And if there was a score system more like that implemented for Mirror's Edge, Catalyst, Mirror's Edge 2, I think you have a smoother experience. You seem, instead of just this, you died, you failed, you were shot. All of this kind of goes away because we've almost been guaranteed that there will be no guns in Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I would be very surprised if we see even one character in the entire game with it. So I want to go to slow-mo, hit this, take this gun from him, and that way he won't be shooting me. Get rid of that gun because it slows me down. Come up here. How am I going? Go this way and through the door. Finally. Multiple attempts needed there. So the coolness, the awesomeness of that scene really only comes about when you succeed perfectly on it. So I don't have that experience. Notice that we climbed on the roof of that instead of over the gate, which we usually aren't able to do. It's Drake, really?
Hello, Faith.
2 of them.
You couldn't.
Attitudes like that. Well, that's exactly why I could.
Who's
All these
behind
runners
this?
are scum.
Let's just say I know who the bigger fish are.
Callahan. Why us? We're no threat.
Classic warfare. Break the lines of communication. Shoot the messengers. Without hope. And without the runners. Your clients. Those who just won't let go of the old city will be cut off. Vulnerable. Then this city can clean up the last of its dregs.
So this is just the start.
I prefer to think of it as an ending. Still, you did a remarkably good job of coaxing out all those loose ends surrounding Pope's demise. It's why you're still alive. You can't live on the edge all your life, Faith. Sooner or later, you have to jump.
See the red bar there? They're shooting at me. So here we go. Nope, that wasn't quite right how we were supposed to do. Jump. Shoot and kick him out. The Apparently the pilot or the engines have been damaged. Apparently she's just fallen. So this is all cutscenes. Yeah, but there's still people with guns right behind you. Like, there was 2 people with guns right behind them. Where'd those guys go? Why aren't they shooting them? We killed Jackknife / Drake. We didn't kill Callahan. We don't have any weapons. Like right there on the helipad. That's where they were. Pretty good song here. Again, I don't recognize this. This may be some fictional city, or this may be some real city. I just don't recognize it from its layout. So I guess technically that's the intro, because it's Mirror's Edge, as I think said for the first time right there. It may not be. They may have said it earlier. I can't remember now. Not a super long game. Not a ton of people working on it. Look at these credits. We're already to the artists, directors, and people. So there was definitely a lower budget on this game, and definitely they weren't sure that it was going to be as big of a success as it was. And it is a success. It is a good game. Now, looking at it in retrospective in 2016, I see a lot of problems with it that need to be smoothed over, improved upon. More elements could have been added. Every time you throw in a new element, of course, there's the risk of it not going well. But yeah, you still have to experiment with that. You can't stay stagnant. We definitely didn't have a great ending there. The music here is trying to give us that great ending, but we weren't super drawn into the story of the 2 main characters because we didn't see enough of their backstory or how they interacted with each other. Not really that upset when either of the other 2 runners betrayed them. The city itself is about the best character in this story that gets characterization, because we really know that this city is a dystopian, desperate city where the people are very much afraid of the government that's ruling them. But since they said it's a city, we could go to, in a sequel, a different city, and it could be completely different. You could have a game like this in a modern New York and parkour around it like that. A lot of the elements of this game slightly got put into the Assassin's Creed franchise, but the core parkour element, I think, can be done and focused on a lot better. Here they are. They're just called terrorists, as always.
A security breach led to a series of catastrophic outages in the Shard's many public protection systems, causing havoc not just at the Shard, but throughout the city. The suspects in the act are none other than the former CPF officer and accused murderer Kate Connors and her sister.
Accused, convicted.
Although the scope and precise cause of the outages is as yet unclear, many troubling questions have emerged in their wake, including the role of the so-called runners in the destabilization of city operations. In the aftermath of the incident, local
Japan marketing, Taiwan marketing, China marketing, Korea marketing. I bet they had to do a lot to market each of those areas.
Until additional security measures have been deployed, as their security has been temporarily compromised. The whereabouts of both suspects are currently unknown.
So, the problem with the 2 main characters being Asian of some sort, and so many Asian countries potentially being vulnerable to be called over-controlling dystopias, you have that risk that people would think, oh, this game is set in China, oh, this game is set in Japan, oh, this game is set in Taiwan, oh, this game is set in Korea. And so then turning around and trying to sell it in Japan, Korea, China, and all the other Asian countries has that danger where you're going to have to try to market and say, no, this isn't what any political statement, it's just a game, it has nothing to it. And frankly, I think at least some of the creators of this game were trying to make a general political statement that all modern countries are at the risk of becoming this dystopia. Here we see in the voiceover that they're saying now that they're not being surveilled, all of a sudden the entire city is breaking out into violence and such. So it is kind of a tinderbox there of people who were only being held in control by fear and such, instead of a society that loves its city and wants to keep it crime-free. It seems like as soon as nobody was looking, everybody fell into their baser instincts, so that's almost the revolutionary action that I was talking about. And that's where I think Mirror's Edge 2 needs to go. It needs to focus more on saying, we've caused this event, and because we've caused this event, now there are pockets of resistance. We're trying to take the city back. We're trying to have a revolution here. We're trying not to be under the thumb of Callahan again, which is probably the right action. I would support a revolution in this game for the reasons that I've seen. Callahan obviously is so intent on controlling everyone that he was willing to turn 2 of the 6 runners we saw on their files and murder the others. Then they were going to kill everyone that the runners were working for, which is more than any modern governments accept at all, because most modern governments feel fine with a small amount of a criminal underground, a black market, as long as it doesn't get too out of control and stays hidden. Most governments don't care that much about it. They'll try to stop it if it's really dangerous, but mostly nah. They're not going to try to eliminate every single criminal. It's not ever going to become a situation that a little 2-year-old steals a candy bar and they execute him. So, from the story, we could continue the game. I don't believe so. Or we could play the chapter. So, training, we could play each chapter now and be given a speed run time, or try to get all the collectibles. So that would be helpful if you were going to try to play this game in its fullness. Although I don't think this game really deserves it, really. I don't see any real reason to get the collectibles when the achievements on Steam don't exist. There's 9 chapters in the entire game. It probably took me a little less than 9 hours to play the entire game. 10 if you include the training area and the prologue, The Edge. Well, we should look at this though. So here's, in theory at least, what the training area looks like, and I would guess that that's probably a rough estimate. And look at the city behind. Next section is this section, and that's a pretty big section of the city, but there's still a lot around that. Next section is this section, which is almost directly connected to that section before, but there's still tons of buildings missing. This here is almost connected. This here is sort of connected, but sort of not. This is sort of connected, but not. This is sort of connected. So it feels like all of these sections were intentionally going to be all one long run. But there's little groups here, and I would say at least 70 to 80% of this city, as it's being shown to us here, are buildings we don't walk on that don't have anything in it. That's not a bad thing. It's just it leaves room for improvement if they were going to go down that route in Mirror's Edge Catalyst or Mirror's Edge 2, which I'm assuming is going to come out after Catalyst. I keep saying that, but I assume there has to be a sequel that continues the story a little bit and gives us more skills and abilities. So doing a prequel really can't do any of those things. They could expand the city quite a bit. It seems like all the buildings on the sides of each building you are walking on are more just decorative. You could have done a whole open world, and this would be a pretty ambitious open world with all these buildings, but if you make it so that you can't actually accomplish the things you want to accomplish or walk on the road without going to places that you specifically allow, you can still gate the progress quite a bit. Okay, so to play offline, you have to play offline or put in an email address for an EA account. That's crappy. So you can't compare your speed runs, and this is just all the levels as far as speed runs. So as far as I'm interested in, I have no interest in that at all. And then the time trial, let's see, play offline. We have a couple of playgrounds we can do, and we will, I guess, do that. Leaderboards or nothing, and then extras. Let's look at our unlockables. Face sketches. Can I switch between everything, or do I have to go here? So it seems like Faith originally was going to be blonde haired and more like Cell. Not Cell. Who was the other one? I forget. And then they were going to have her wear headphones and carry a bag and carry a gun. The gun part needs to just go away. They're just showing me the same picture several times. Here's a nice render. And it would have been really nice if we could have seen more of Faith in the game. I like the eye tattoo. I think the arm tattoos might be a little too much, but they're fine. I think the elbow and one red glove are way too much there. So when you look at the tattoos and you look at the background of people, though, you kind of see how it would be silly for runners to actually have tattoos like that, particularly around your eye. You're gonna have to put makeup all over your face to sneak in a place, which they should probably address something like that, or come out and say, oh, the tattoos are all fake and we just wear that to throw the police off, and except for when we are actually just trying to stay underground. This whole section here looks like a prison. Yeah, that does not look like anything but a prison. And so there may have been a section like that that was left out. The shard from the outside doesn't look that interesting, and we didn't really ever look at it in the game. You probably should have a story detail at some point where you're running something that is just like super dangerous, like a nuclear bomb or something. Celeste. Yeah, Celeste was the other character. I like her design, and it's kind of sucky she turned into a bad person. We had a lot of that. Miller was supposed to be a good guy in the first time we met him, turned into a bad guy in the second time we met him, and turned around and became a good guy in the third time we met him. That's not great. I like the way Jackknife is depicted here a lot better than he is in the game. Merc is cool, but we don't see enough of him. Here's Miller sketches. he doesn't look anything like what he finally looked like in the game. Rope burn particularly looked awful. Making him a wrestler just so you have a boss fight was ridiculous. You didn't even need to do that. That was just going crazy. The police, obviously they didn't want to bother to waste any time to animate their faces, so all of their faces are covered. Just low budget as far as the animation. They did not put a lot in there. Here's some other runners that in theory you'd like to see in Catalyst. You'd like to see a lot more runners in the sequel and Catalyst. In fact, this whole event might turn around and make an event where more runners come about. The bags are a cool idea. In fact, the bags are kind of a cool idea for the real world. Interesting way to carry different things. Let's see, interrogation, shard servers are not that interesting. PK training facility might have been better if we had had more free time to run around here. Painting 1, painting 2, painting 3. What is this artistic style? Here. They depict Faith as this person who's really tough, and she's actually not that tough. I'm not gonna bother to watch any of these attract movies, but it's all the cutscenes. So if you just wanted to watch the animated cutscenes, you've got that to you, and then the attract thing. And kind of nicely, you have all the music here, but frankly, if you're gonna give a soundtrack in 2016 of the game, you don't put it in the inside of your game. Make it just an extra DLC, so it's MP3s or even better, FLAC files, so you can put it on your phone or your music player of choice. And then there's just credits. So we're gonna skip this speedruns. I have no interest personally to run through the game in speedrun mode. As you saw me play through this whole thing, I didn't do that well at the game anyways, so I'm not going to put the effort to cover that. But we're going to make at least one more recording in which we do the time trials and try those out. See at least how far we can get. So that's going to be it for this recording, and that's the story of Mirror's Edge. Definitely worth playing at least once. Probably worth playing before you play Mirror's Edge Catalyst, even though Catalyst is a prequel. I'm sure Catalyst will be a lot smoother and better an experience. Maybe not worth playing twice or becoming an expert or trying speedruns. Those are all things you could have done when this first came out, but by today's standards, there's so many other games to play that I don't think so. Anywho, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right is a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.